Hey folks, I'm wondering whether or not I should just not shave until we figure out what's going on with student loans. It's kind of how it feels like. But I've got some updates for you on some things to watch out for. So next week, we're hoping that we'll see the reopening of the PAYE and the ICR plans. So for folks that, don't qualify for anything good, like they have too high of an income to qualify for a partial financial hardship, ICR is critical for that. For folks that really need to have that partial financial hardship to be able to get PSLF, for example. So that's going to be beneficial for folks doing ICR. Now, PAYE is going to be helpful for folks that don't qualify for the new IBR plan. Folks need to be able to have as low payment as possible to be able to get forgiveness. So PAYE and ICR, we're hoping will open up next week, but we have to just sort of wait and see what happens in terms of those two plans. Now, another thing that I can say, which is exciting for anybody on the PSLF program, is I've seen the first person that actually got PSLF buyback in one of our Facebook groups that we run. So that's exciting because that means it's the very first time that we've ever seen a successful PSLF buyback application submitted that was actually processed. So it's only one example so far, but I am excited to see that at least we do have one that has actually gone through. So that's really good. I'm very excited about that. And PSLF buyback in general, if it's not repealed, could actually be an interesting loophole to gain access to PSLF for certain kinds of folks. Looking at the rules, what it says is if you were in a forbearance or deferment, you can buy back based off of submitting your tax returns if the period in question is longer than 12 months or you were not on an income-based plan before or after. Or you could do the standard 10-year plan if you basically have that being lower than the IBR plan. So in other words, what I'm saying is PSLF buyback could be a loophole to access PSLF even if you make too much money, for example, if the SAVE plan is overturned. So the PSLF buyback rules are very flexible. And so for people that are in the PSLF program, at least, that's a program that's really worth monitoring to see whether or not the Trump administration will toss that rule or if they will keep it in place. My thought is that they would keep it in place for at least the first few months of the new administration. So anybody who's very close to PSLF should really be paying attention to those rules very closely. Now, if the PAYE and the ICR plans are opened up next week, just to talk to that applies to people more generally, you might be able to apply right away, but it's very unlikely that the student loan servicers will process your application right away. So you'll have to be very patient. I don't anticipate anything that will happen over the holiday period, and we could see some of these applications not even get processed for even a couple months potentially. So when we are monitoring all these things with the student loan programs, the one thing that I do think will happen is you will start seeing a flurry of executive actions and sort of wink, wink, do this from the administration to Department of Ed over the next few weeks. So the reason just being is obviously you have not a lot of time left in the Biden administration, and they want to try to accomplish as much as they possibly can before leaving the White House. So if you are curious about PSLF buyback, if you're curious about when the PAYE and the ICR programs might be opened up again, and you specifically want to monitor your options for PSLF, just put PSLF in the comments. Just type that out, PSLF in the comments, and we'll send you over some resources. Thank you so much for following Student Loan Planner, and we will continue monitoring this situation so that you get maximum credit and pay as little as possible on your loans. Thanks so much.